Welcome to today's edition of Lama Drives, July 3rd, 2019. Our regular or semi-regular car chat show that we put together when we're driving places. Today we're off to Melbourne Airport. We are heading off to
Euroland.
Off to Europe for 2 weeks. So it's all good. Von,
Yeah,
how you been?
really good.
How's the little one?
Still kicking.
Baby Lama is kicking away. I think we have a cyclist on the way.
Yeah,
Lots of kicking.
lots of kicking.
All good, all good. Okay, quick intro about, I'll quickly cover some news and then we'll talk about some other things more in depth. So, quick shot for the news because I haven't been doing the digital peloton. Von, tour starts this weekend. No Cav.
No Cav. No. Some people might be disappointed, so what we decided to do was attend instead. And that way, maybe that will alleviate some of the disappointment. But we're only really going to be there for the first two stages, so...
First 2 days in Belgium.
That should hopefully overcome that disappointment, and then they'll be into the tour by then.
Okay, so if you don't see Cav, you got to get to see Von. I think the general feel on the internet and the responses around that are... there's full respect for Cav and the tour wins that he's had, but I think because we still see Cav as the new up-and-comer, and when reality, we've been around cycling a while, he's not really the new up-and-comer anymore. Even Sagan is sort of on the, dare I say, the decline a little bit.
Well, he didn't win his national champs.
No, his brother got that one. So are we just seeing a changing of the guard? Are we just seeing, we all want to see Cav keep winning, and when he doesn't, we're all a bit disappointed, but retirement time for Cav?
Maybe, or maybe the next one. Maybe he's going to come out for the Volta.
Oh, good call. Anyway, no Cav. Next up, Zwift Academy starts, or it was launched yesterday/last night, but Zwift Academy starts early August through the end of September. Von, you were involved in Zwift Academy last year, not just for the pros, not just for the elite high-end riders in both male and female. You did some of the workouts.
I did them all.
You did them all?
I finished it, yep.
Looking at competing this year, though, it may have an interruption of Baby Lama, but...
Well, yeah, I have to have a look at the schedule and see if they release things over time, or if they're releasing everything up front.
Oh, so you can smash through it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that way I'll be able to get some regular rides in, because I'll be on maternity leave.
Yep. Now, initially when Zwift Academy came along, I'm like, it's just for the elites, it's just that. And then I think the last few years, the participation has blown out. The numbers from last year were 35,000 participants. This year they're expecting 100,000 participants. I think 100,000 a bit too much pie to eat all at once. I think even 50,000 would be a massive improvement.
Well, if they got 65, 50 is not an improvement. That's actually
35. 35.
Oh, 35. I thought you said 65 last year.
Sorry, no, 35.
Ah, right. Okay, yeah. Across male and female, it would be great to see something like, doubling would be amazing. Yeah.
Should be interesting to see.
Anyway, and I think it's for everyone, so I endorse everyone to give it a try.
And they are replacing a few of the races with a few social or group rides rather than races.
Yeah, last year they had 2 races only that you needed to do, but also some other group rides.
Yep.
So I think it's good that they've given options, because I did the races early on when they weren't as popular and people were freaked out by it. Yep. So I could get them done quickly without getting completely smashed. But it's great to have another option. And
speaking of races, you competed in a race last night. You were part of the Send It series. Now you were sending it off the back, but you weren't last. You can send it anyway.
I sent it.
You sent it reverse, but that's a brutal race last night on the New York course.
I didn't realise it was going to be the hilly New York course. I really didn't. Now, I really should have looked into it a bit more, because I was excited about the one I did the other month that was in the jungle, and that was all cool because I know the jungle, it's pretty flat through that route. But I forgot about the 14% kicker getting into the jungle.
Oh yeah, that's there. That's split everything. So the Send It series is a race series run out of Australia here by Zwift Australia.
Yeah.
Participants through the roof, up to 480, I think last time. Was it 400 signed up? I think it ended up being 380 plus on the line.
Yeah.
The women's, it was up to 60 or 70, so that's still a good showing.
That's amazing. Considering what they're trying to target is participation into that. There's both a community stream and a
Elite Pro
Pro
slash
NRS or National Road Series
top
for
level
us.
elite series,
Group as well.
Yep.
And you get to line up and form a group and keep on rolling. So
we've been watching the streams of that. So I've been pedaling along, just watching the streams as entertainment, and Von was racing. The streams aren't too bad. Last night we were still missing the kilometres to go.
Yeah.
So it's just those little things that we've spoken about for 4 years now to iron out. They've been ironed out for some, but there's no consistency across the streaming. That needs to be nailed. That just needs to be nailed for the viewing experience to be consistent, so we know what's going on. Because at 5Ks to go, that's a very different viewing experience than 50Ks to go or 500 metres to go. Like, you don't know what you're looking at, and you can't really judge by the excitement or the distance counted on top that doesn't really have an ending or finish. We all know about wrong endings and finishes on my TT video the other day. Anyhow, that's all resolved.
Yeah. But in comparison, like, we watched another stream the other week.
The chop.
Yeah, that was good.
This is really good. Now, it's called Handicap Racing. I'm not sure if Handicap Racing is huge in Australia. I don't know why. It just happened to be that way. That was
the smaller
way
numbers.
they used to always race. Now, Handicap Racing is everyone is given a category or an ability as such, with the slowest riders put off first, and then over a certain period of time, half an hour, maybe 45 minutes in real life. We've had up to an hour, I think, in some handicaps, depending on the distance of the course and the field. And then the fastest riders are off last, and it's your job at the end to mow them all down. It's your job at the front to stay away from everyone. And in the middle, I don't know, what do you do in the middle?
Try to get to the finish
Trying to get to the finish first. I get that. That's about it. Just sweep everyone up. But the scratch bunch, the A grade, the fast people is the one that they just sweep through if they can. So we watched the chop handicap racing where they launch everyone off A grade. Oh, I think it's E grade or D grade, C, B, and then A's come sweeping through. That was really, really good viewing because I think it was because we knew what we were watching as well. So we knew how handicap racing works and I guess what happens when you catch a slower group. Typically you blast past them so fast, you blow their doors off, they can't jump on, and you continue doing your work. That's what fast bunches usually do.
Yeah.
The wily foxes in the slower bunch will see them coming, rest up, jump on, and keep going.
Yeah.
So we saw that happening in these bunches, and they all come together. So I think A grade just blew their doors off. Like, it was amazing to see it all come together in the last few Ks, and then it's just on, and that was really good. I really enjoyed watching that because I understood, and I've raced a number of handicaps myself, and we know what it's all about. So good to see. I do like the chop better than the scratch racing.
Yeah, there's probably just a few quality issues they'll need to resolve around being able to access both the men's and women's feeds, and then those distance to go kind of counters and getting a full results list.
Now, what would be interesting, that's the community racing. It's sort of, it is officially endorsed, I believe, by Zwift. But today, I believe on the 3rd, kicks off the Classics series, which is the esports side. Now, Zwift, as I understand, have spun up a separate company called Zwift Esports.
Okay.
So it's a separate company that rather than, so there's a CEO of Zwift Esports doing the esports thing. And I think this is their product, which is the Classics series, rather than Zwift or the community. Are you confused? We're all confused. But it's just Zwift Racing.
So with Classics, is it like...
I believe it's invite pros and big esport production behind it. I expect to see at least a kilometre count to go on these ones. We will keep a track of that though. We'll see how it goes. But I think they're only once-offs for the next few months or next few weeks. I like a series so you get to know the characters, get to know who's at the front. The Send It series, we've been watching the A-grade guys at the front and the girls. We know who they are because they're local NRS races, national level riders. So we've been watching that story unfold. For just once-offs, I'm not sure. If they've got the names there that are well known anyway, and we know the names, like we had for the other series they've currently run, the KISS series early on in the year, we knew those pro riders and who they were, so the story was already established. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. We're well down the line though of our initial discussions on Lama drives 2, 3 years ago, 4 years ago now, about esports and where it's going. It wasn't called esports back then. I still don't think it's really an esport. It's as another company calls it, physical esport. You've got to sweat for this. To move from A to B, it's the same as the real world. You've got to actually put your effort into it. Anyway, enough about Zwift. There is a Zwift competitor. Another one on the market this week was launched or announced or in beta. The Rivet. Von, did you see anything on the Rivet?
No, didn't
register.
Pop up.
It's hard. There's a lot of noise at the moment with social media and indoor riding.
Yeah, at the moment my feed seems to be filled with baby things. I don't know.
There's your search history.
Jeez.
So the Rivet, young guy out of the UK has programmed up a cycling simulator using the Unreal Engine.
Yep.
And the key part of it, or the key kicker for it, is it has steering.
Oh.
Has steering with accelerometers. So you place your phone on your handlebars, you turn your handlebars, and your little avatar steers.
All right, so they've got the environment already nailed because the Unreal Engine has a world behind it.
Yep.
Okay, and then the
There's a road,
hook
there's an avatar.
is supposed to be the steering.
Yes, and they're hashtagging esports quite a lot. I think they're going to, the Rivet is racing, that's where they're aiming towards.
Okay.
I think I'm not sure if it's open or closed beta. I know there was a shout out put out up on social media if the media wanted to have a look at what it's about. Now, I don't consider myself media. I know it's kind of weird, but I don't have a media pass. However, I reached out, got a copy of the beta, had a bit of a crack at it this morning. Interesting.
What did it look like?
Graphics were fine. The seat was a bit high. The virtual seat was a bit high. So I had a bit of virtual seat. Like the guy's ass was like. So and the developer knows that. He goes, yeah.
That's fun.
It's something he hasn't really been focusing on, the whole avatar thing. But once that's sorted, really interesting. I'm a big supporter for steering. I've wanted steering for a while because what that opens up across any platform, it doesn't matter what platform it's on, you can do. It's just more realistic riding. So you're not attacking from the front and through everyone. You can attack in the gutter. You can then introduce crosswinds, echelons, team time trialing, or working turns in a bunch. Talking about handicap racing.
Yeah.
You can do a turn on the front and then swing off. The other person cops the wind. You go sailing back. You jump into the line. You get brought up to the front. You add a crosswind to teamwork. How many times have you been in a crosswind and had to work hard?
This introduces accidents.
If it crashes, yeah, look.
Yeah, because you could steer directly into the side of someone.
You can, but it shouldn't be accidents, it should be penalties. If you fall off your bike, it's a training platform. At the end of the day, it's training. You don't want to be stopped and have to start again. So, for example, imagine, hit the barrier and you're docked 5 kilometers per hour. Just like outside, if you elbow someone, you're not going to be shooting forward. You're going to be like, oh, what? You're not pedaling a bit, and then you're going to go back. You have a negative effect.
So it would still need to do the elements of game where it flocks you or puts you within a grid or something like that.
There's going to have to be some kind of, I wouldn't call it free world steering. This is my idea, not the Rivet.
Okay.
The Rivet was free world steering. Wherever you steered, you went. It took a lot of energy.
Okay.
Because you had to actually steer the bike in the straight way. Now, phone accelerometers aren't perfect. There will be drift. And at one point in time, I was a bit crossed up trying to go straight because it wasn't calibrated. So the concept was good. I think it needs to be more veering or steering assistance.
Okay.
So go straight line and railroad it if you're not steering. But if you want to steer and you want to take the apex of the corner, you've got to then actually choose the apex, and then it puts you back on the line. And just maybe a little bit of, oh no, I want to go around this rider, so you've got to steer out just a little bit. Because if you're having to do big movements all the time, and indoors, you don't steer the same as outdoors. Outdoors, you hardly move your bars. You never consciously
think, I've got to... There's a bit of lean in the turn as well.
That's the way the bike is set up. You lean, the fork rake makes the bike turn without having to actually turn the handlebars.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit unnatural having to turn the bars, like driving a bus. That could be fixed with more sensitivity, but then you introduce more sensitivity, then if it's not centered right, it's going to be a little bit weird. And you start sprinting. If you're looking down, you're going to sprint. Speaking of Cavendish, you're going to be in the fences, but Saga didn't cause that, did he at all? No. Anyway, interesting stuff. The Rivet, if you're on social media and are a cyclist, you've probably seen it. So, yeah, interesting stuff. I think the biggest challenge for anybody coming into the market, now I'm not just talking up against Zwift, I'm talking up against anybody who's been around for a few years, your Road Grand Tours, your Virtua Goes, your Ruvies, who else does virtual cycling? The others, insert everyone else here, is that there is so much base work that needs to be done first to get to a certain level to then accelerate and then introduce your own value props. The steering is cool, but then we've got to look at ANT Plus support, training control, Bluetooth support, FTMS support. Over ANT Plus, we're going to have FEC. Support for all different types of trainers, different support for different platforms, and the biggest one that is a killer in this market and the most expensive thing user support, because you need to have user support. You're going to have forums, you're going to have a support desk, a help desk. That's big dollars, unless everything is absolutely perfect. But
nothing's ever perfect in the software world, let me tell you.
I'd say any new platform is probably 2 years. You need at least 2 years of good base development, and then you'll have something. That's my estimate. 2 years to get to where you need to be now. Tough ask, very tough ask. I'm not saying this as a warning. Don't do it. Absolutely do it. The more the merrier. And the steering was pretty cool, but I understand as a user, as a consumer, the amount of effort that it's going to take. But hopefully they can get it done. Cool stuff. Anyway, that's probably the first review of the Rivet that's been done on the web. GPLama.com now exists. I have a home on the web. I've owned the domain since 2013. I haven't really done much with it. I've had a blog site since 2007. So I've been putting blog posts up for my races, rides, events, travels, tech stuff. That's where all the tech stuff started, over on GPLama.blogspot.com. I purchased the domain way back, before anybody else did, which was handy. And so now I've finally put up a website. Given if you've been playing the long game, YouTube having full control over this channel and this content, and they really do have full control over this channel and this content, because that's the platform that I choose to distribute everything on. I need to move things away a little bit, and I've mentioned this before. Remove reliance away from YouTube, because that time they cut me off for no reason, didn't have a home.
Yeah.
So GPLama.com, there's newsletter sign up if you want to sign up over that. I haven't sent a newsletter out yet. I'll wait for that newsletter base to grow a little bit first, but that'll be a way for me to do proper giveaways and any discount sign-ups. Same as what Ray does with his newsletter. Whenever something comes along that can help everyone else out, save a bit of dollars. Yeah.
Also, let people know what you're up to.
Exactly. Yep. So it's my home. So where do you find me on the web? Well, it used to be YouTube or Twitter or Strava or Instagram or here or there or everywhere, and now just GPLama.com. You can hit that and you'll find out what we're up to and where we're at. It has all the social links down the side and other posts. And I kicked it off with my Shimano power meter post, which I think was better in the written form than in a video.
Okay, yep.
So a bit of back history on that. Hopefully, if you've read that, fantastic, thank you. If you haven't read that, check it out over at GPLama.com. My Shimano-based power meters, not as accurate as you may think. That was a long run-up, that video. I didn't even set out to do that report. That wasn't the goal or intention. My goal was to grab as many power meters as possible, ride them, put them through the Lama lab test, have a chat about the feature sets and the numbers, and hopefully they were within spec, and then let people choose based on price, based on, if you like one company over another, you can choose that. Cool. Probably was 12 months ago I started seeing, and I have talked about this, issues with the right-hand side cranks during the Lama lab test. And yeah, it was a few months ago I started collating the data and standing back a little further thinking, there's something else going on here. There's something bigger than just 1 power meter or 2 power meter or 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 11, I don't even have 11 fingers. There we go, 11 power meters having a similar problem. I'm like, that's it. Let's put all this in a massive post, but let's call in some outside support for this too. Because I've been asking questions of manufacturers, and to their credit, they were sending me replacement cranks. That's why I had 11 crank sets. It wasn't solving the problem, and they were the same issues. And the 11th one I discussed in my video the other day. When that arrived, I pretty much knew what it was going to do, and it did. It did exactly the same as the rest. And it's not a problem with the protocol, because no other power meter shows this problem. So it's hard to put that in a video and to explain to people what it's all about. Videos are a lot like social media. On Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, if you don't see the post within, a day or so, if it's not in your feed, it's gone. It's like sitting by the side of a river, something floats past, you didn't see it, it's gone. Videos are a little bit like that, and there's a lot of interpretation of a video, and things can be lost in pronunciation or people not paying attention. I get that, that's cool, no worries. So I put it into a post where people can take their time and go through it and really look at the data, really look at the words that have been typed out, which I typed out too many times trying to get it right. And it's done quite well.
And also, they can translate it.
That's a big one. And this is focused on not just Shimano cranksets. This is, well, it's Shimano cranksets as a base, but also Shimano was involved because I had one of their power meters in the testing pool. A lot of hits out of Japan and a lot of hits elsewhere. So, yeah, it's cool. It's hard to translate a video. Again, I speak too fast, I speak Aussie, and things just flow past pretty quick and they're gone, but a post can be translated, and yeah, it's been linked to quite a bit, but it is what it is. And at the end of the video and the end of the post on that is you can remove me from this picture and the issue still exists. I'm not causing a ruckus just to cause I'm not testing something in an incorrect way and just saying, oh, that's my problem that I have. Look at everyone, look at the problem that I have. You can remove me from the picture and the problem still exists. I am just talking about it loudly and spreading the word of, can we get better products? Or can we get full disclosure about the accuracy of these power meters? And I think that's more the case. And the more I learn about power meters and smart treaders and how they operate and how they work, well, the less I want to know, because it's the more you pull back, it's a little bit of Wizard of Oz. You pull back the curtain and there's a little dude. There's no little guys in your power meters, though. If you actually had a little guy there screaming out power numbers, it would be more accurate than some of the ones that I have tested. And I get it. Again, I've tried to cover all angles on what have I done wrong. Is it valid testing? Am I collecting the data wrong? Anything I can throw stones at myself, I have, before giving the report to the industry, to all these power meter companies and beyond for review. The responses have been respectful. Okay. That's the word I'll use. I did mention to them that this is not the information that you want me to put out there. I wasn't threatening anyone. It's the data. Again, remove me from the picture. The data sits there by itself. I removed me, got Dr. Slane on the bike. Same scenario, same testing protocol, same results. So it's not the pedal stroke. Initially it was, oh, you've got a wonky pedaling style. Good theory. But it's never a problem with other like a lot of other power meters. It's not a problem. It's not a problem on the left-hand side. Why have I got a wonky other leg that only is found by these power meters? And it was never a problem when I was competing. It didn't seem to slow me down much. So
that's been eliminated.
We try to eliminate as many variables as possible, and I think I did. It's still a work in progress, but I wanted to put a line through it and say, look, we're done here, and I'm not going to give too much time or credit to any data coming from any Shimano crankset, especially the versions I've tested, the models I've tested on the firmware versions I've tested.
Yep.
If there's a new firmware version out, we can retest, fine, done. But it was too common that I'd get a brand new power meter that was different to the one I'd just taken off, and I'd retest it and it had the same results or similar results. So something was going on. Keith Wakeham was the guy I reached out to, who is a mechanical engineer, has worked for Four Eyes for years, then went over and worked for Campagnolo for their electronical engineering side of things. This guy knows his stuff very well. If your name is on a power meter patent, in particular this very power meter design I'm talking about in this report, if your name is on the patent, I think that adds a bit of credibility to the problem. So Keith put out a 30-minute video on that, super in-depth, and explained exactly what was going on. Now, what Keith explained, it wasn't a Shane Shane's seen this, here's Shane's data, here's what explains Shane's data. It was completely independent from me. He mentioned my name early on that I'd reached out and said, can you tell me what's going on? And he went off on his own, and actually I didn't even supply Keith the data. I just said, I'm seeing it do some weird things on the right-hand side, read a bit low, and he said, and Keith's like, okay, I'll have a chat about the inherent design issues, and it fully explained what was going on. And it answered the question without providing the question, if that makes sense. Anyway, that's how independent that was. Just a few emails back and forth from Keith, and super nerdy. Check out the video. I linked to it in my post. But it gives I've identified what's going on, and here's the data. Keith's given here's why at an atomic level.
Okay, and so how's this been received by the web and the summary video?
What's the pulse of the internet on this one that I've read so far? Good, actually. Good.
Okay,
because
it's not necessarily a good news story that you're providing.
And I acknowledge in the video, this isn't good news for power meter manufacturers, people who own these power meters, or these type of power meters, and resellers, in particular resellers. Now, we saw my Bontrager video, we had a reseller of Bontrager responds in a very inappropriate way about my thoughts on that helmet, which weren't too bad. It's just like the helmet wasn't for me. Here's a few of the issues, and to the point where they actually were, was the word reprimanded by their employer? Anyway, it's insane. The internet is an interesting place, but the feedback has been really good because I think I'm the one who threw all the stones at my data and all the stones at my testing first. I was the one who was, I was losing sleep over this, going, what the hell have I done wrong here? Like, these are multi-million-dollar companies with multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns, and they're Tour de France winning power meters. How am I wrong? Why am I wrong on this? And that's why I again, removed myself from the picture, reached out to Keith and said, can you explain what's going on? And he goes, absolutely, I can. Here, let me have a crack. And did the whole... There's a lot more to it than this. There's been a lot more testing. There's been a few extra conversations going on. But at the end of the day, it comes down to there's no solution at the moment to this problem in the specific test cases that I'm encountering this problem on. And that's the holy crap, post, go, not good enough for me. Anyway, I could talk about this all day. I have, and I do.
You do.
And I hope that's it. How the companies respond, it's up to them. Happy to continue to test power meters. And we'll see how we go. I'm trying to reach out to other companies, namely SRM, and grab a hold of spider-based power meters.
Yeah.
And let's say Powder Max, SRM, Quark, a few other. We've got some older Quarks, but they're not the new Quarks, so we'll try and get a hold of those. But that's been really interesting. It's been good to put that up on the web, so check it out. News-wise, that's about it. Sorry, that was a long rant on the power meter post. We haven't covered it much on the Fitfile podcast with Ray. It would take an entire show and then another few hours to cover everything. But it comes down to, and the reason why I spent so much time on this and I'm so passionate about it, it's because everything that I do, almost every product that I look at, the question that I ask, the underlying theme is, does it do what they say? That's it. Does it do what they say?
Yeah.
So,
consumer use.
New watch?
Yeah.
Does it do what they say? Does it record this? Does it send me alerts? Does it
pay for my lunch?
Pay for my lunch yesterday. That did really well. 14 minutes to unboxing to paying for lunch with Garmin Pay. Worked really well. Yeah, does it do that? And if it didn't, then there'd be a problem. And in Australia, we have the ACCC for that. And people get fined and companies get charged a lot of money if they falsify information. Is it at that level? Well, we don't know what accuracy is. What defines accuracy? And the best response that I did have was that we stand behind our power meters under most use cases. And the power meters and accuracy numbers under the majority of use cases. Between the lines there, I read that erg mode wasn't a use case that they were too concerned about. Lots of people are using erg mode these days. I'm using erg mode these days. And regardless of how you use a power meter, if I was pedaling it backwards, sure. If I had it on a fixie, sure. If I was pedaling with my arms, sure. It's a different way to use that. But when I've installed it on a bike and I'm pedaling it like a human...
Yeah. So that's good that they could summarise and give a good response out of that. But...
Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. But narrowing it down was difficult. But we'll see how we go. So speaking more about the report itself on the internet, there is a lot of people saying, yep, I see the same. Yep, mine's done this. Mine was doing this. In particular, there's a Japanese forum that picked up on the giant power meter. I said in my giant power meter, the Power Pro, it was reporting higher on the right. Yeah, it was. It was reporting higher on the right outdoors. Indoors, I can't recall whether it was higher or lower. That was with the previous firmware. The latest firmware, 237, same deal. Lower on the right, higher on the left, which means to me, and I've updated some notes in the post, it appears they're fudging the numbers. Again, see Keith Wakeham's video on fudging the numbers and scaling things up, but if it's non-linear, you can't just change the scale. It doesn't work like that. And if it's 200 watts, 90 RPM in erg that's causing the problem, but not 200 watts, 90 RPM outdoors, because of where the pressure is put on the pedals and the power curve is, the actual calibration curve is different. It's not the answer. You'll get these kind of problems. Keith does come up with a solution at the end of his video. And again, watch Keith's video. It's brilliant.
It's a hard watch for me. I found it. It's pretty in depth.
It's super nerd, but
yeah,
it does answer a lot of the questions. And he comes up with a solution. The solution's not pretty. It's pretty much put a supercomputer on the crank and have multiple points of calibration at different slopes, at different crank angles and different RPMs. So it's not just a linear slope, it's a different curve, but a different curve of calibration based on where the crank arm actually is located. That's a super hard one to solve. And I think it comes back to if Shimano can then sit down and look at this and go, okay, let's design our next crank around a power meter first. What are the inherent design issues? Let's resolve those first. And if it's making a skinnier crank arm, guess what? Get your designers on the case. And I love the look of the Dura stuff.
No.
Oh, come on.
I don't like the fat arm.
It's got booty.
Nah.
It's like...
Nah, never liked it.
Fat arm is like...
Nah.
What, you're at the old school?
Love the slender crank arm. I mean, look, it looks exactly like the left-hand side.
The older one?
Yeah.
Well, the older one was symmetric in more symmetric in looks.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the fat arm. It looks brilliant. Keith hates it.
I'm with Keith. Me and Keith. We know what good design is.
So, anyway, that is a solution. And I think at the moment, just to wrap this one up, the power meter companies, the third-party power meter companies, I'm talking Stages, 4Eyes, or XKD, Pioneer in particular, because Pioneer only have Shimano crankset power meters, and a few of the others, they're in a bit of a pickle because they were offering left-onlys, and then I think Stages started offering dual, so everyone went, well, let's do dual, and then Shimano went and changed the design and went, there's the crank to use, and then they've all gone, oh shit. How do we... Okay, we'll try best effort, but we're selling dual power meters. Here we go. We trust them enough.
Well, it's all they can work with if they're going to stay with Shimano as the market leader in... Yeah.
So I think there will be discussions with these companies, and there has to have been with the engineers, and I think there'll be engineers in this in this mix who are like, yeah, we know, but then you've got marketing, you've got the entire company's existence based on selling the... Anyhow, whatever, I'm just a consumer. I've just put a shit ton of data together and they're the numbers. Go forth and fix, wave hands. If I can be done with this, we can be done with this. Anyway, happy days. Off for the tour. Travels this week. Let's cover that.
That sounds like a great idea.
Shut up, Shane. Stop talking about power meters. So, Yvonne, give us a rundown of our itinerary. Now, this is effectively a work trip as well. I'm going to be covering as much as I can for everyone else here and catching up with a number of companies. So this is my well, we're not doing Eurobike anymore. I will be doing Eurobike remotely, which will probably work even better because I can be at home making the content based on what we see rather than in an RV park, even though the RV park was awesome. But Baby Lama is due
next year.
Exactly when that...
RV park next year.
RV park again next year. Okay, we're on. Baby Lama is due exactly when Eurobike is on, so we'll have a release party for that. Vaughn will be having her own release party. So we're over... This is the reason for the trip. So we're going over. The tour just happens to be there, which is handy. We're catching up with a number of companies, quite a lot of companies, on the way there and on the way back at every stop. It's Zwift stuff, indoor stuff, power meter stuff, smart trainer stuff, smart bike stuff. Tax has got their smart bike. We've seen the Tax smart bike around, so hopefully we can grab another hold of one of those and have a look.
Plus a DC Rainmaker barbecue.
Oh, the DC Rainmaker open house, that's on the way. So catching up with everyone there. So yeah, a lot of fun times catching up with Des from Desfit will be over there as well. So the three amigos, and I'm sure it's going to involve cramming ourselves into a rental car of some type. Ray will have something we've got to pick up, and we're not going to fit in the car, and we'll make it work. It's all good. So that's what we're over for. So Vaughn, our stops. We are first off tonight to...
Taiwan, in Taipei.
We're going to the Giant Factory, are we? I don't think I'd be welcome. The bike video is still doing really well, Giant.
Well, you might be able to get a new crank set.
Come on, I'll knock on the door like, can you reply to my email? And they're no longer replying to my emails. That's okay. Door's still open, guys. Happy to talk. Happy to be part of the solution. I haven't created the problem. I haven't created it. That was
and
the power
then
meter.
after that, we're in Amsterdam.
Yep.
And off to the tour.
Yep, so we land for one day and then off to Belgium for the tour because it's just over the way a little bit, I think.
Off to the tour.
The tour. Now the tour starts. There's a road stage for the start, and there's a team. Is it a team time trial the second day? I think it's a team time trial the second day.
Team or individual?
I think it's team. We'll be corrected on that.
Well, it'll be probably better to have a team one up front
and
because otherwise it will shatter the field. Yeah.
Yep. Like we saw last night on the New York course on Zwift. Oh, brutal.
Painful.
Brutal.
Painful.
Shattered.
Shattered.
So the tour for 2 days. We'll see what we can cover there, and then we're back to Amsterdam.
Yes, to catch a flight to Italy. We'll head over to Milan.
And up a little bit north from Milan to the Giro Rossa time trial day.
Yeah.
So the women's tour of Italy.
That's right.
That'd be cool. So not just the tour, not just the dudes. We're going to see the Giro Rossa, which should be really cool.
So I've always wanted to see that. So this is pretty cool, getting a bucket list item ticked off. Yeah.
Then from there back down to Venice, and there's a company. If anybody knows the company around Venice, comment below. We'll catch up with them. I think it's their 40-year anniversary.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's the 40th year of said company.
I will have to have an Italian dessert to celebrate.
I'm sure they'll have many Italian desserts there for you. I think, yes, we've been told they have really good food. So we'll go over there. And they have good drink bottles. They're my favourite drink bottles too. There's a hint from the company.
Excellent.
So we're going to catch up with those guys. Back up to Amsterdam for the open house.
And there's another trainer company.
There's another trainer company. There's two. There's a secret one.
Yeah.
So lots of stuff, lots of content. Hopefully I can put together some videos on that. During the trip there'll be more travel vlogs. Let me know if travel vlogs are okay.
We could do like a mini update each day or something.
I'd rather tech. So I make content that I want to watch, which is usually the tech updates. Give me the firmware updates. What are the cheat sheets? What are the notes? What do I need to know? How do I update? What are the features done? Travel ones, I'm like, I used to do a little bit of that, but let us know, and we'll put those together. They're easy to do. GoPro's good. It won't be no green screens. Actually, we'll have a green screen at Ray's. That'll be right.
We can pretend we're home.
Well, we found one at San Francisco that time. We had a green screen behind us. I presented that as if I was standing. I took footage on the
boat,
on the ferry, and then I stood in front of a green screen with the same sunlight and pretended I was still on the ferry. I wasn't even on the ferry. The wind was too bad out there. Anyway, we'll see. We'll have some fun with that. And I'm sure we'll do some good content in the Fitfile podcast with Ray and Des. And
do podcasts, do some vids.
If there's any topics that people want us, because we sort of generate our own ideas and own content and our own pathways. Well, in particular, hey, look, I found a power meter problem, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another.
What are you requesting?
And another. If anybody has any questions about certain tech, certain things, certain products, certain ideas, concepts, I think we've got enough contacts these days. We can reach out and grab some further information from other parties. Sorry about the sunset. How about that? The sun's out. If there's anything in particular, just content ideas. Always open to for suggestions.
Or Q's for A's at the open house.
Q's for A's, questions for answers at the open house. Yeah, we'll be doing a Q&A session there, and that's why I love doing live stream videos, because the questions come through live and there's no prep. So you can't get worried about answering a question or not knowing the answer. And I don't know the answer to most questions, but I'll have a go at some of them that I do know. Speaking of not knowing the answers to the questions, I will make a slight reference to the power meter problem again.
Yeah.
One of the issues with the Shimano crank power meters, now our turn-off is up here, I'll point you where to go, Von.
I was going to say, you might need to wrap this up.
We will in just a few moments, but one of the issues is coupling, so it's not just limited to the right-hand side. The right-hand side is impacted by the power generator on the left-hand crank, because when you crank on the left, the power goes through the spindle, into the spider, and into the chain rings. Now, it's not just the spider that the power goes into, there's stress put on a lot more, and then especially with this design of the Shimano cranks, there is stress put on beyond just the 4 bolts, and it goes up into the other strain gauge, and you get misreadings or different readings there. It's called the coupling effect. It's how they work together. An unnamed power meter company has emailed me just before we got in the car with our power meter is fine, watch this, and they're pedaling with one leg, not in erg mode, showing that the numbers match up, and the numbers do appear to match up.
To what?
Well, they had a first power meter, their own, and a secondary power meter. They didn't have a tertiary source, but just the secondary one, and they did match up. So both right-hand sides did match.
Okay.
However, that completely ignores the fact there's the coupling effect taking
Yeah.
place. And also erg mode, which was the steady state stuff, and a tertiary power source, just to make sure it wasn't happening on both.
And to
I
confirm
will-
that the left would still report the correct.
The left doesn't really suffer from the coupling effect, but it's still...
No, but it should show that it matches the. So if they were using a
Oh,
pedal-based
yeah.
power meter, it should.
Well-
all three should be the same then. If what they're saying is that.
Correct. So but the funny part about that is, and then again, I'm not an engineer. I have a computing degree, but that's a little different to what we're doing here. I'm slowly, consumer leveling this with data, and you get enough data, you get some information. You can't look at my protocol and provide me a different test to prove that my protocol is wrong, or to prove my results wrong. You need to do my protocol and follow that protocol and show me that the result is different there. It's like running 100 meters with 2 legs and then you run it with 3 or 4 because you're on a horse. It's
And
different.
you're only doing 50 meters.
It's different. It's different. I will be seeking a second opinion on the coupling effects not being shown by this. I'm worried. I am worried for the industry on this one. If no one else is worried, that's fine. I'll lose sleep over it. Don't worry. It's bigger than me though. It's bigger than what I can say and what I can scream about. So we'll keep screaming. Anyway, we're going overseas, and I love jumping on a plane. Speaking of engineering, planes. How good are planes?
Good. Very good.
And engineering things. How good are GPSs that tell us where to go?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to wrap this one up because we have to turn here and I'm totally
I don't know
lost.
where I'm going.
We're going to FedEx. We have to return. Guess what?
A power meter. Woo!
It's a theme. All right, thanks for watching this one. It's a bit of a ramble session, but we are heading off. Again, if you've gotten this far, I do appreciate it. A little bit of behind the scenes of what's going on. But I think we are lost. Anyway, let us know how you're going. Hope you're all well. I'll see you maybe in Taiwan. If
Yeah,
not,
depends when we can upload this.
in Europe. Oh, bandwidth. Dead bandwidth will be fine. All right, we'll see you soon.